You have any thoughts on the Israeli judge today ruling that Rachel's Corrie death is accidental and the parents have no compensation? Yeah, let me do the story. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm in a position to say that the ruling was right or wrong, insofar as whether or not it turned upon whether or not this bulldozer driver could see Rachel Corrie. But today, a judge ruled in Israel, I believe it was in Israel, yeah, a civil lawsuit brought by the family of Rachel Corrie. She was an activist who was protesting the Israeli practice, which I believe is still ongoing, but not to the extent that it was then, of destroying homes in occupied territories of Palestinians that they thought were in some way either a threat or was the home of people who were engaged in a protest. During the, I think it was 2000 to 2004, according to the human rights group, the Israeli human rights group, Bet Shalem, I think it is, between 2000 and 2004, Israel military demolished 1,700 homes in Rafah, leaving about 17,000 people homeless. And Rachel Corrie was one of, I think maybe it was a dozen or so, activists. She's from Olympia, Washington, who basically put herself between a bulldozer and a home. The bulldozer driver claims that he didn't see her. The lawsuit filed by Corrie's parents, Cindy and Craig of Olympia, accused the Israeli military of either unlawfully or intentionally killing Rachel or of gross negligence. Family had claimed only a symbolic $1 worth of damages and legal expenses because this was not obviously about the money for them. She was killed in March of 2003 on the Gaza-Egypt border. Cindy Corrie said, "I believe this was a bad day not only for our family, but for human rights, humanity, the rule of law, and also for the country of Israel. The state," she said, "had employed a well-heeled system to protect its soldiers and provide them with immunity. As a family, we've had to push for answers, accountability, and justice." Sarah Corrie Simpson, her sister, Rachel's sister, said, "I believe without doubt my sister was seen as the driver approached her. She hoped the driver would one day have the courage to tell the truth." The U.S. government believed that the initial military investigation was flawed. Last week, the U.S. ambassador to Israel, Dan Shapiro, told the Corrie family that Washington remained dissatisfied with the inquiry. Hussein Abu Hussein, the family's lawyer, said the verdict is yet another example where the impunity has prevailed over accountability and fairness. Rachel Corrie was killed while non-violently protesting home demolitions and injustice in Gaza, and today this court has given a stamp of approval to flawed and illegal practices that failed to protect civilian life. I mean, look, I have no doubt that the bulldozer driver was ordered, go forward, do not stop until she jumps out of the way. And my belief is that the Israeli government had a responsibility to protect human life, whether it was that of a protester, whether it was of a family member trying to stop their own house from being bulldozed, whether it was a member of the family in these houses. I mean, this is aside from the question as to whether or not it was just punishment to leave 17,000 people homeless in this one town, which I think clearly it's not a just practice. But this is aside from that, whether you think it is or not, They still have a responsibility that goes beyond simply saying, here's a tractor, it's coming towards you, you better move. Because I got news for you. When they've removed settlers in the past, and if they ever come to their senses and remove settlers in the future, they would never allow something like that to happen. Never, ever, ever. They would never, ever allow it. And in this instance, I think they just wanted to make an example. I don't think anybody had the plan, we're going to kill her. They just wanted to make an example of, you got to move. You get injured as you dive out of the way in the last minute? Lesson learned. But I have little doubt that they said, your job is to bulldoze. Do not stop. We'll handle it. And, in the 9 years that have passed, Israel has just become significantly worse in terms of they're becoming what I think you can only describe in some respects as an apartheid state. And in the end, if anything leads to the destruction of Israel, it is going to be their policies in regards to the Palestinians. Not some type of existential threat coming from some other country.